Now, the Lord has spoken with me past night. The Lord has continued to speak with me about the events that highlight the closeness with which we have drawn towards the coming of the Messiah. And in this past night, when the Lord spoke with me on this day about the coming of the Messiah and the signs that he talked about, then I see now, the Lord showed me, I see the Lord show me the massive historic fire that is going to break out. There is a very, very massive historic fire that breaks out, and I see people running. The Lord put me in the fire, and I panicked also. And I see people running in all directions, but the fire is so vast and so huge, it enclaves the people in, it encloses the people in. So there was almost nowhere to run, but I see a lot of people running in large numbers. Large numbers. A big fire is going to break out soon. A huge fire is about to break out soon. It will be in the news, and you'll see a lot of people running for their lives. I see a lot of people running in an amazing distress. I have never seen like that. The Lord puts me in there. I'm also stranded. Some people are trying to run to their houses to pick some money. There's this person who was saying they have put a lot of money in the house, so they want to run there and get the money, but fire circles them and it's coming raging fire. So I see a lot of fire that is coming. I see people running in all directions. There's going to be a historic fire, and there's nowhere to run to. So people will be running in large mass, and the fire will consume all sides, all around. It is going to be a distressful time that will consume at this hour.
And unforgiving. Flames devoured seaside resort towns along Greece's eastern coast. Tiny communities bustling with summer tourists became fully engulfed in a matter of minutes. Firefighters didn't stand a chance in stopping the damage, making rescue efforts all the more urgent.
We ran along the beach and then we were caught by the fire, so kind of surrounded. We had to go to into the water and dive there so that we didn't burn our hair and heads.
Hundreds of people survived by rushing into the sea and later were picked up by first responders in boats. It was one of very few escape options in the face of immediate danger. Panagiotis Dagalos is searching through the ashes and rubble in the spot where he last saw his wife alive. They tried to escape by car, but when the streets filled with vehicles and the flames raced toward them, he knew it was too late.
I took my baby and ran towards the sea, while my wife, I didn't know what happened. I think she burned herself here. I didn't turn my head back. Nothing. I was running towards the sea.
At least 60 people have been killed and more than 100 injured in the worst wildfires to hit Greece in more than a decade. Well, the fires started around the capital, Athens, and they spread through the Attica region, fanned by high winds. Most of the victims died in the coastal area of Mati after getting trapped in their homes or as they tried to flee in their cars. Emergency workers used boats and helicopters to evacuate beaches after people ran into the sea to escape the flames. Well, the Greek authorities have now asked for international assistance to cope with the fires, as Richard Lister reports.
An avalanche of flame driven by high winds swept through these houses at terrifying speed. Nothing was left behind. For many of the victims, there was simply no escape. A local mayor said he saw at least 100 homes and 200 vehicles on fire. Some left it until the very last minute to leave. hoping against hope that their homes would be spared. But for the overstretched fire crews, this was an almost impossible battle. Many people simply fled to the sea. The Coast Guard rescued almost 700 from nearby beaches. Others were rescued from small boats offshore.
And we went into the sea because the flames were chasing us all the way to the water. It burnt our backs and we jumped into the water.
For others, trying to flee in a car proved a fatal mistake. Flames fanned across roads, leaving them trapped and helpless. The Prime Minister cut short a foreign visit to deal with the crisis, arriving ashen-faced for a briefing. Daylight revealed the inferno still pushing through the landscape. Flames lapping the sides of this coastal highway near Athens. These high winds, after a dry winter, have created a tinderbox, and it's these resort areas which are taking the brunt of it.
It's a very green area where many Athenians have their summer homes. Many people, including families with children who are now on school holidays, were at their summer homes at the time. And this partly explains the number of dead and the number of injured.
As this fire rages on, it promises to bring yet more of these apocalyptic scenes with it. This summer holiday season has become a national tragedy. Richard Lister, BBC News.
With ferocious intensity, the flames tore through homes, cars and livelihoods. And the wildfires quickly turned deadly. Within hours, large parts of Mati had been destroyed. Survivors described running for the sea to escape the choking smoke. Military and Coast Guard vessels, along with dozens of private boats, joined the effort to rescue more than 700 people from the beaches. 2,500 homes have been completely destroyed. 4,000 are uninhabitable.
I see now, the Lord showed me, the Lord showed me the massive historic fire that is going to break out. There is a very, very massive historic fire that breaks out, and I see people running. The Lord put me in the fire, and I panicked also. And I see people running in all directions, but the fire is so vast and so huge, it enclaves the people in, it encloses the people in. So there was almost nowhere to run, but I see a lot of people running in large numbers. Large numbers. A big fire is going to break out soon. A huge fire is about to break out soon. It will be in the news, and you'll see a lot of people running for their lives. I see a lot of people running in an amazing distress. I have never seen like that. The Lord puts me in there. I'm also stranded. Some people are trying to run to their houses to pick some money. There's this person who was saying they have put a lot of money in the house, so they want to run there and get the money, but fire circles them and it's coming raging fire. So I see a lot of fire is coming. I see people running in all directions. There's going to be a historic fire and there's nowhere to run to. So people will be running in large mass, and the fire will consume all sides, all around. It is going to be a distressful time that will consume at this hour.
This is where 26 people died. Their bodies were found locked together at the top of a cliff in a final embrace. The owners of this land had opened their gates to allow people to flee down to the sea, but the fire swept through here at such speed and such force they had no chance of escape.
The place, it was my paradise, but now it's gone.
The owner's son saw everything.
The fire was in front of them, so it was impossible, even if they knew how to access the beach, to go there because there was already fire in front of them. Behind them, they were trapped.
When we realised there was no way out, we left our car in the middle of the road. I took my 3-year-old child in my arms and started to run through a path towards the sea. We ended up on a path behind that house, went down to the beach and jumped into the sea. It was a matter of seconds to make it into the sea on time. There were people behind me and I knew that they wouldn't make it. It was mathematically certain.
Greece is coming to terms with the deaths of at least 74 people in the worst wildfires the country has experienced in over a decade. And there are fears that the number of dead could rise. Now, rescue and recovery efforts are ongoing this morning amid fears that parched scrubland could reignite in the hot, dry summer conditions. From Greece, Ayman Ogana sent this report.
Once a picturesque Greek resort town, Mati today looks like a war zone. Ravaged by the worst wildfires in Greece in over a decade. At least 70 people have been killed, including families with young children, as rescuers search for the many more still missing. The inferno started here, 30 kilometers from Athens, late on Monday afternoon. The advancing flames spread quickly.
Everything happened so fast. As far as I know, the one time they were trying to escape, the fire was on the other side of the avenue, and within half an hour it was down here, next to the sea.
Residents fled to take shelter in the sea. Many in the area were unable to escape the spread of the blaze, even though they were just a few meters from the Aegean Sea. Emergency crews found the bodies of 26 victims, some of them children, lying close together near the top of a cliff.
Well, Mati does not exist anymore. As a settlement, it's out of the map, has been destroyed completely. It doesn't exist.
I was there upstairs and I was just watching the news and I smelled the fire and I went outside to see what is going on. I saw the flames run downstairs to save my dogs, my cat, and then of course my parents. My house, my things, my clothes, my life, everything is burned. Nothing, you can only see sticks, nothing more. Not even walls, nothing. Just ashes, nothing more.